Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen. We're with comic Christiana Jackson. Christiana Jackson, how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm darling. How are you? I'm great.
Oh, it's so nice for you to come on and let people know where they can find you. Do stand-up comedy on, I guess it's comedy online. I follow you on Twitter, Incomparable Miss C, and you're on that on Instagram as well. But you also have ChristianaJackson.com. Are you posting show dates of Zoom shows you're doing, or have you been going to parks or rooftops?
So I haven't been. I've been definitely doing now. It's interesting combo of online shows and live shows, which is it's a great in between. It almost feels like we're back to normal, but we're not.
Oh,
but
good.
Yeah, yeah. So I have two regular shows that I do every Friday and Saturday on IG Live. So it's me and another comic, and we just basically shoot the shit. We were supposed to first do 15 minutes of comedy each, but by week 3, I was like, ooh, it's getting tough. It's just getting tough. And then
That's a
also
lot of
I was
that's a lot
very
of material.
I'm self-quarantined. Yeah, because I mean, like, yeah, I was like, there's no way that every week for I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to do this. And then I was lonely, so I was like, wait, Megan, don't go anywhere. Let's. So then I just started running my jokes for her, and now that's just the format. So that's every week. And then yeah, the Zoom shows are great because we get to actually see the audience. But then now I've done 4 real life outdoor shows, which is a weird thing to feel like a flex, but it does. I'm like, yeah, I've been.
That's a total flex. Where you been doing it? You've been doing it on a rooftops or parks?
So far, I've only done parks, and then tomorrow I have a rooftop show that I'm co-hosting in Bushwick. So I'm very excited.
Wow.
I haven't hosted in a while. I used to host often. I would say before at least like a third, maybe even like 40% of my spots were hosting. So I love it. It'll be good to get back to that. But I'm grateful for any spot with live people at this point.
And are you in Bushwick, or are you taking the train? Are you braving the trains to get there?
Oh no, I'm taking the train. I live in Harlem.
Wow. Yeah. I think one person wanted to interview me for a job or some shit, and I was like, dude, I am not braving the fucking train and the pandemic for a possibility of a job. It's like if there's a final interview, I'll come for it. But in the meantime, we can do preliminary phone interviews if you're really desperate.
Yeah, that's a little ridiculous to ask you to get on the train. Like, hey, you might not get the job, but you might get COVID. So please come visit the office. I mean, the
Yeah.
trains have not been bad, but then, it's still, you never know. It's still risky. I live alone. I have no partner and no kids. So I'm like, fuck it. What am I living for anyway?
Yeah. Some of this stuff is like, not wanting to brave a train is sometimes consideration for a roommate. But if you don't have any roommates, you're like, well, I mean, worst case scenario, I get it, but at least I'm not giving it to a spouse or a young child.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
But
but one thing we're going to talk about in the meantime, it's so funny because on I have the guest supply topics, and then I pick from them, and yours is just a hilarious combination, and they're also, for the most part, on your Instagram bio, and they are cigars, ice cream making, and sneakers. How can all those things exist in one person?
I'm basically a dirty old man, so it does make a lot of sense. Dirty old sweet tooth, apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got into all of them at different stages in my life. So I would say ice cream making was first. I've been making ice cream for about 8 years now. And it started very randomly. I was going through, like, I worked in real estate for 15 years. And I was going through like a shaky point in rentals. And I thought to myself, I can still be a consumerist. And then I also convinced myself, like, well, if you buy an ice cream maker, it'll save you money on ice cream, which really, when you're broke, you just should buy ice cream. And then I started making ice cream for 8 years now. So it's a very, I like very bougie food. So I make really bougie ice cream with, like, organic sugar sourced from different countries, organic cream and milk. And then I've come up with my own proprietary base, and then I just branch out from there.
Is that bougie? Because it sounds pretty elite.
I think it's pretty bougie. You know, like I don't have like people are like, "Where? What's your favorite flavor?" I'm like, I make so many different ones. Like I don't make a lot of just like standard like here's the vanilla, here's the chocolate. Although I've gotten really good at my chocolate, I'm very proud of it because it can get a little gummy like the texture, but I've worked
Okay.
my way through it. But you know, it's like, oh, I made some cannoli ice cream, or oh, I made some toasted coconut ice cream with like these little chocolate cereal balls. That's like they're super expensive actually. It's like, you know, it's always something I'm very creative, so I always try to think of things that are out of the box.
Yeah, I had a former guest, Keisha Peart, and she was selling some baking, I thought, and she ran into certain regulations as far as selling. Like, are you thinking about selling your stuff? Can we look forward to a Christiana Jackson gourmet ice cream that is called Bougie or something?
Oh, I would love to, but I don't know. Right now everything's so chaotic. I'm just trying to get through every day. Also, I will say this, like now that it's super hot and I have time to drink, this summer I've been focused less on ice cream and more on frozen drinks.
More on frozen drinks. Okay. And so what are the concoctions you're spinning up? And is your kind of knowledge of ice cream spilling over into your gourmet frozen drinks?
I think so, because I just kind of understand how different sugars work and different flavor profiles. So I focused on, I've made, I tend to try to perfect the recipe. So I've made several blood orange variations,
Okay.
and then switching out the citrus, like let's do a little fruit, let's do a little lime, like a traditional one. And then I'm still working through, because the thing is, I make things in batches and then I have all these leftovers. And I'm like, damn it, it's going to take me a while to drink all these margaritas. And so then I have a mango one that I did that at first I thought didn't come out really good. But then it's perfect. It's really, really good. I make
Wow.
different simple syrups to flavor them.
Wow. That's some gourmet
And
that's some gourmet shit, but I love the fact that you're like, I made a whole bunch of this shit. I gotta just get drunk nightly.
yeah, I'm
And
a
then did you get
lightweight too. So like I have one glass and I'm
that's the only way to do it because when you drink too much, it really just fucking I mean the tolerance builds up, but also it can lead to other consequences. So it's nice like if you become a lightweight, it's great that one drink can do it because it's calories, it's money, and nobody needs any of that shit. Now, like, did you get into cigars later because you were like, I want an awful taste in my mouth so that I could flush it out with awesome ice cream?
No, I've traveled to Cuba many times, and I started smoking cigars there in 2013. No, sorry, yeah, 2013 is when I started smoking cigars. And I love them. Okay, I admit it's not for everybody. I'm not an idiot. Like it's a very, you know, it depends on the cigar. Some people just don't like tobacco, and I understand that because it's poison. But it's so
Yeah.
delicious if you get the right brands, the right cigars, the right time of year. So I love cigar smoking, but it is one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, it's funny because when I'm in Cuba, people will say like, oh, Christiana, I'm like, you're not Cuban, you're not American, you're Cuban like us. And then I'm like, no, because I don't want to appropriate. But then when I tell people I smoke cigars, I'm like, sounds pretty damn Cuban, Christiana. Like,
Yeah, I mean, are you getting like, are you able to scratch that itch in Harlem? Because I can't imagine you're allowed to buy the imported Cubans. Like, what are some good domestically or locally available cigars that people can go out and buy?
oh, it's a great question. So I go downtown to Midtown to the Martinez Brothers. It's a Dominican shop, and then so they don't have Cuban tobacco, which is fine. There are other great tobaccos, but I love it because it's a hole in the wall, and like a lot of cigar shops, I feel like a little elitist or pretentious. And I started smoking
Yeah.
very organically. It's not a pretentious thing in Cuba. So I started smoking very organically. So they have good tobacco. They're very friendly. The vibe is very like hole in the wall, like run down. Which I mean, frankly, that's most of Cuba. So that's where I like to go.
Martinez brothers, man, they're the ones who make you feel comfortable and teach you what you're doing correctly.
Yeah, yeah, they're great.
And so, like, are you able to like? I know you could roll your own, smokes. Like, you could roll your own cigarettes or joints. Like, is it even possible to roll your own cigar?
Oh, I mean, I guess you could probably learn, but I don't. I have too many hobbies, so I feel like Fernando's roll a cigar. If I learned to roll a cigar, I might as well just give up my U.S. citizenship and just go straight down to Havana. Like that's real OG, like extra. If I was like, okay, yeah, now I'm rolling my own cigars. There's an art to it,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with not learning it, supporting this.
Now my question is, if you if you move down to Havana, like, would you move down to Havana if it meant the best cigars, but it would mean that you can't bring your ice cream maker with you?
Ooh, well, I mean, sorry, there are no jobs, so that's just not a possibility. I need a job regardless, and food, which right
Yeah.
now we're going through it. So, if I had to pick cigars no, I wouldn't do it. I don't smoke cigars that much. I definitely eat
Okay.
more ice cream than smoke cigars.
And one of them is not as cancerous as the other.
Yes, that's that is also true.
But then also with the sneaker habit, because it sounds like you've gotten pretty advanced with making your own ice cream, but also then you're going all the way to Midtown for Martinez Brothers cigars. Like, are you kind of getting that connoisseur with your sneakers?
I would say sneakers are a big part of my life. I got another pair and then I'm waiting for another one. And it's like in quarantine, it's ridiculous because I'm not really going that many places. So I have like 60 boxes of sneakers. Once quarantine started, I was like, what are you going to do with all these, bitch? You got 60 boxes of Nikes, just an Adidas, just laughing at.
Uh,
But I mean, I would say if anything, that's the more part of my daily life because
yeah.
I'm looking at them, I'm looking at the app, I'm staying updated every day. Ice cream, I'll make a batch and then work through it. Cigars, I'll smoke a cigar every once in a while. So it has become actually probably my most normal vice, and then my most frequent vice, I should say.
And so you're monitoring it via an app. Like, is there a sneakerheads app out there that will allow, kind of notify you when your brand or model of choice is kind of becomes available?
Oh, there's tons of them. It's really bad. So I only use a couple. I'm a big Nike girl. I do like Adidas, but I'm definitely more of a Nike girl than Adidas one. So then there's the Nike app. Then there's the sneakers app, SNKRS. So that app will let you know like kind of the more exclusive stuff that's dropping that sells out. That have like limited runs. And that's where, and they'll drop, and then you'll sometimes get lucky, and a lot of times get your heart broken trying to get your favorite sneakers that will.
Yeah, because those probably
And
get pricey.
you
Those
know,
probably get pricey. Like, our limited runs, are they kind of an auction basis? So if you wanted like a Kyrie Irving Celtics limited edition or whatever, would you just have to be first, or would you just have to be at the front, near the front of the line with a box of money?
um, so what you do is like you'll put in. Sometimes when you go in, it's already been bought up by all the. So you can go in. The bots have already bought everything. Sometimes, so you go in, like literally, you're putting in your info, your password into sneakers for your Nike account, and it's already sold out by the time that you even authorize the payment. Sometimes they'll just
Uh,
say that you're in line, and then they'll process the payments that way. And then and then you'll find out. You get an email later if you were selected or not, and they'll be like, "Nope, sorry, you weren't selected." Or then and then you'll get a thing that says "Got him," and you're like, "Yeah,
yeah.
ah,
And are all these
what?
sneakers,
It's great."
are they like basketball sneakers like Michael Jordan's and things like that, or are they also like, the Yeezys or something, like fashion sneakers, like Louis Vuitton sneakers or some shit?
Oh, okay. So I don't. I have a few pairs of basketball sneakers, not many. Lucky to have small feet, so I can pull off basketball sneakers and make them look cute, but it doesn't really fit my style with clothes as much. So I have a
Yeah.
lot of class, a big Air Max girl. So I have Air Max ones. I have a lot of 90s. This year I branched off also into like 98s, and then I have some 270s. So Air Max, I love Air Maxes, and then I have a lot of Cortezes as well. I think because I'm almost 40, so I feel like a lot of the classic styles kind of fit me more, speak to me more. But yeah, I love Cortezes, Air Maxes, Blazers. Those are if you look at all my boxes, those are the most that I have. But then I have branched off and bought some stuff that usually, I bought a pair of Air Maxes. They're like camo and like a bright neon orange. I have nothing that it matches, but I just love the sneakers so much. And I love that
Well,
too. I'm like, wait, what are you gonna wear this with? Okay,
well,
all black.
yeah. Like I see, I'm looking here on your Instagram. I'm looking at incomparable Miss C, and if you're wearing a black outfit and you're rocking the sneakers, that pop of color can really be the only focal point of the outfit that doesn't clash with anything else.
Yeah, that's what I'll do, especially if it's just their first day out. Which nobody knows this, but it's just like, so for me, if it's the first day out of the box and I'm wearing them, I definitely want the focal point just to be on my sneakers. So I'll make sure the whole outfit is just very basic, and then my sneakers pop. And then I might start like trying some other patterns and stuff with them. But it's becomes an obsession. So you just end up buying all these sneakers, and you're like, oh man, how many pairs of yellow sneakers do I have? Like, I'm looking at 2 right now by my storage, and then I have 4 in the back in my room. But yeah,
But
I love sneakers.
if coronavirus were transferred via the feet, you would have been all set. Like, it wouldn't be who has the masks; it would have been who has all the sneakers, and that would have been Christiana Jackson.
Yeah, that's very true. Although I feel like if a sneakerhead's listening, they're going to be like, 60 pairs, that's not a lot. Usually sneakers heads have like 100 plus. So just I can. It's a very between the cigars and then the sneakers are 2 worlds where men are always mansplaining things to me, and I'm just like, I just love sneakers. I just love cigars. I will listen to your opinions, but I'm also like, it's not like I'm not going to pretend that I'm not into these things.
And so,
But yeah.
yeah, as far as it's like on stage attire. Like I talked to Danny Suggs and I talked to Ivan Arguello, and they are into sneakers, and they kind of are like, yeah, even on stage, it's nice to have kind of some interesting footwear, especially if you're on a kind of an elevated stage, and because it's not too distracting. If you can wear your black outfit and a little pop of color at the feet, it's not too distracting. Like, what role does attire play in your stage act, but also what kind of stuff are you talking about on stage?
Oh yeah, I mean, for me, it's a big part of the act, like how I look, and even doing online shows, doing outdoor shows again. I'm like, I miss putting an outfit together because I know I'm going on stage because I know I have a show. I like to wear a lot of bright colors, and I would say that kind of mimics my sets because my sets are pretty bold and pretty like. So I just love bright colors, and it definitely is something. Yeah, my sets are it's a ride, it's a journey. My comedy is very autobiographical, and I talk a lot about my dating life, which is very colorful.
Yeah, right here on Instagram, I'm looking at a picture that says, and let me read it off here. It says Chris Hanna's canceled dick appointment by Christiana Jackson.
Yes, a friend made that for me. A friend who knows me better than some of my other friends. So he was late on a train. He wasn't late, sorry. He was delayed on a train. And he made different fake book covers for different comedians. And that was mine. And, I look very pissed on the cover.
Yes,
and that is how I feel when a man cancels on me. But luckily, I usually just call another one. So angry for that long. But when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, he gets me. He totally gets me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a very interesting dating life here in New York. It's a lot to sort through. I have a lot of fun, but also I've met a lot of different men. And they're a disaster sometimes, even when they are fun. But so yeah, so that I talk about a lot about I like to keep things current to what's in my life, which oftentimes, is reflected in society. Sometimes it's not. So right now I am talking about things that have happened during Corona. I mean, you can't ignore it. It'd be ridiculous to just be like, hey, so who's anybody, talk about work or something. Like it's the elephant in the room that we're all going through this weird time. So I talk a lot about that, dating during Corona, And then also my evil grandma died, so I talk about that. And just like I just like to keep and like the protests and everything. I just try to remind all white people that please, like next time this happens, just don't bombard your black friends. It's really confusing.
And were you talking about any of that stuff before the kind of the death in Minnesota? Like, had Black Lives Matter made its way into your act prior to that?
No, I don't really, because this is the thing. A lot of comedians tend to be topical and political, and it's just, I don't feel, if I'm going to take a stance on something directly and not personally, I don't feel well enough informed to do that, because there will be some type of backlash at times. So as a Black person, obviously I do feel Black Lives Matter. Did I use my stage time to talk about it? No, but how I'm talking about it is how the reaction to everything affected me, because that's a place that I can speak from. I can speak from not from a political way, but a personal way of saying, like, whenever these things happen, it's very stressful, upsetting, overwhelming. Please do not further stress us out. Like, please, if we some space, give us some space. I had friends that hit me up so much I knew why they were single. I'm like, I had no idea you were so clingy, and we've never had sex. Imagine if I put my dick in you. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the clingy white people. That's so funny. The fact that you found out people were clingy via their reaction to the whole George Floyd thing. Yeah.
It was I communicated like, hey, I just keep it to myself. I need some space. And then every few days, man, there were two people in particular where I was like, I would see a text on them. It's like, I don't understand what the hell's going on. The nicest thing I can do is be, hey, can you leave me alone? And then that's like, why aren't they doing that? I literally just said, hey, I process. And it was like, just check it in. Hope you're fine. I'm like, I'm fine.
I love that.
Fine. Yeah. I was fine. Now I'm annoyed.
You're stressing me out so much. I need to go back to my cigars and my ice cream and my sneakers.
Well, actually, that's so funny you said that. I was supposed to be in Havana when all that happened, but then I couldn't go because of COVID. So that's the thing that hurt me more. I was like, no, I wouldn't even be here if I would be here. I would have been completely blocked off from the outside world. Yeah, smoking cigars, drinking some rum, and dancing all day. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I can't believe it's bad enough that I can't go to Cuba, and now I can't go, and I'm stuck where everyone has access to me when I wish I had no cell phone service. So yeah, it was,
you would have answered those calls from the clingy white women. You'd have been like, oh, yeah, my phone's not working right now. My reception is spotty. But we're going to check you out at Incomparable Miss C. You're on that at Twitter and Instagram. And we're going to look for your show dates at ChristianaJackson.com. Christiana Jackson, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This has been great. Stay safe.